assume
That's right.
pristine.
And they can also say that what we've done has helped flood control
Enhanced flood control.
as,
Well, that would be the logical way to think, but see,
You don't-
they're not
you don't-
thinking like that. They're saying that the
You're
natural
the damn
ditch was
airport. This
actually
is all-
better than us concreting it. Because of what we did, we not only changed the environment, we changed the velocity, the rates, the absorption, and everything of that creek from the top to the bottom.
By the top, you
From
mean
where
at
it
the
starts.
headwaters.
Yeah, from where it starts up.
Well,
to
they
the
even changed the
PUD.
contour of the ditch
Yeah.
because the ditch started over by,
Stephen F.
Stonewall
Austin on the other
Jackson,
side.
Stephen, over there by, where the right of way crosses, the roadway.
Yeah.
That's
The
where
ditch comes under
originally was.
Crichton Road.
That's another ditch. They built that ditch down the middle of the right of way
Uh-huh.
to take care of the contour that was already there. That was where the original ditch was. They took what we did back before I was even here in RP. They took it and extended it from the back of, along the golf course, back up to behind, by Max Mahaffey's house. And just changed the entire course of that was an open ditch at that time. But there were two ditches feeding in and they just closed the other one off.
Okay.
Now they have a flume that runs down through there and connects.
Well, we gotta do what we gotta do, I guess.
Well,
That's just it.
it's just more money, that's all.
I'd rather put the money into water, like drinking water, like sewer.
You're gonna be asked to do that too.
that's coming up.
Good evening.
Good morning.
Good morning. I know I said that a few minutes ago, so. Mark.
Good nodding.
Yeah, I just came out wrong.
Buenos dias.
fine.
Good, how are you
You're
doing?
looking good.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Close enough.
Did that come out right, Julie?
What?
The
Oh.
changes?
It's,
I just copied what he said.
6:30, shall we commence the,
Yep.
regular meeting? It's regular meeting that should have been on Thursday, but we're here on Monday, to facilitate having a quorum. The Board of
But that was supposed to be
Directors
on
of the River
Thanksgiving.
Plantation Municipal Utility District will now come to order. The first item on here is confirmed minutes of the prior meeting. Has everybody read?
I have 2 copies, is that a reason?
There was a change.
There was a change in it.
Okay.
The one that was on your conference table when you got here is the new one.
Right.
I don't remember if it was my left hand, I picked it up in my right hand.
If it says adopt instead of accept at the bottom, the
bottom.
last paragraph.
The adopt is the right one.
Any comment?
The adopt is the correct,
The,
is that correct?
The
Because
adopt
one
is the
says
correct one.
adopt, the other one says accept.
The adopt is the correct one.
Accept goes bye-bye.
And so we take this one. I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Kurtzinger, if I can interrupt, Paul Raddick was requesting that he listen in on the meeting.
Who?
Paul Reddick.
They're
What
turning.
Our attorney. Just, in case anybody had any comments or anything.
About what?
Any questions or whatever?
Are we going live? Is that what it is? You just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put him on speakerphone. If that's okay.
I have no problems. It's an open meeting. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Any comments from the public?
Hey, Paul, this is Richard. I'd like
Anybody
to put
wanna-
you on.
Make a comment? Dolores?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't make any comments last month, because after listening to everything, I was a little confused. So I went through my notes again. And I guess I've got a couple of questions here. Back to that meeting that you had with the TCEQ and Homeland Security on getting a guard to take care of the tanks. I was wondering, did you ever have any director go with you at that meeting?
I never had a meeting with TCQ.
Well, you said you had a meeting with
No.
TCQ and Homeland Security.
No,
What did,
no. I didn't say I had a meeting with them.
what'd you say?
I said that they were, Homeland Security and TCQ recommended that we have additional surveillance over and above what we had. That's what they recommend.
Okay, so what, phone
I didn't have a
conversation?
meeting.
You had a phone conversation then or something, or what?
No, it's published. It's published data.
Well, then how come the next month it says we need surveillance as far as cameras? And the thing is, Richard was getting proposals back in April. I mean, I don't get that.
I don't understand the question.
Well, I'm just wondering why we were talking about having some guards or overseeing the tanks on the weekends.
East Plantation hired a guard.
Yeah, but you were talking about
We
that
didn't
too.
hire one.
Yeah, I know
East
that you were
Plantation
talking
did.
about that. But then the next month it was back to surveillance cameras, so,
Well, if
And
we
that's what
want
you-
extra surveillance, there are different avenues that we can take. That's what was brought up, if I recall. And it was brought up that we will take, or he had bids taken from April for cameras and all, and he was to bring those bids to the attention of the board, and if we so fit, we would act upon it.
okay. Okay, then I've got a question about the Corps of Engineers. I mean, it seemed like they were supposed to be so hard to deal with, and here who was it, Gloria and Sam Jones went down to see him, and,
They didn't get the Corps of Engineers person that's in charge of this area.
well, they got the
had a
person that said it's
spokesperson.
fine.
They ended up with a spokesperson who was glad to get them in and out of the office. Had no bearing, and she so iterated to them, had no bearing on what was going on here at RP.
Yeah, but that was just the ditch cleaning,
All I
it
can tell you
wasn't
is
taking the
it
lining.
had no bearing on what goes on here at RP.
Well, I think it was certainly an incentive to get it moving. You know, on our website, it says
We-
water, sewer,
There
flood
was-
drainage.
Things are being moved.
Slowly.
That's the way the Army moves.
Yeah, but the thing is, flood drainage is one of the responsibilities of the
There
district.
is no doubt in our mind about that.
And then we all know when hurricane season starts, so we
That's
ought to
right.
be cleaning ahead of that time.
That's right.
Yeah, because people, even that gal that was in here last month, got 4 inches of water, never had water. And don't give me this stuff about 11 inches in 3 hours. If we had good drainage, wouldn't have been a problem. Now, one other thing was mentioned was to talk to the districts north. I would say, see the districts south. Make sure that their drainage is working, because otherwise it's gonna be backing up and it's gonna be backing up here. So I really think we really need to thank them for all the work they did. I want to talk about the email addresses. When are they going to be on the website? We've only
We
been
don't have
talking
it yet. I
about
sent you one
those
out.
for what? How many
Did you get me an
months?
email? Oh.
Yeah.
So I have it? Okay. Is it Outlook or how is it? How do I get it on my phone?
I don't know, I'm trying to figure that one out. Lycos is not like a normal. Yours is up and running.
But I
haven't
can't
got a-
check it.
I haven't got a password for it, but.
Yeah, but it's not on the
I print out
website.
stuff to put it on there. How do you supposed
Nothing-
to access it? That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to find out.
Nothing's on the website yet.
Do you actually want their,
Well, I have an email address, but I don't know how to get to it.
It's a work in progress.
yes, it's a work in progress.
You may be internet savvy, but we're a little bit older and we're not as,
I'll be over to help you this week.
I don't really need any help.
Okay, that's all I've got.
Any other comments? All right, let's review the financial and bookkeeping matters.
Richard, what's Green Utility Services?
They're a utility company that I use for projects that are out of our realm, and if we need special equipment and stuff. They're a good company to rely on.
what kind of
They
equipment?
do.
They,
What do they do?
they do water, wastewater, water lines, sewer lines, sewer equipment. Yeah, they got big equipment where it's out of my range to fix.
Big hole.
Okay.
If I have a major problem or a major break, or for instance, the storm sewer lines that we're fixing that are 48 inches diameter, I can't get down there, 10 feet below ground. He's gotta bring a giant size trackhoe out and dig it out. I don't have that capability. My little backhoe will only go so far. And then I have to contract it out.
Okay.
They're a good company. We've
He
been
had a
using them
good
for
month.
years.
He had a good month.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
We've got a lot of issues though. I'm afraid they're not over yet either.
What else we got?
Well, we got other storm drains that are starting to collapse, and people calling me, they got holes in their yards and stuff. So when you go check it, you're looking at a 36-inch line that's rusted through. So now we're gonna have to start spending money on
What did we
fixing it.
reline a couple years ago? Or-
Sewer lines.
And these are the water lines?
These are storm drains.
Storm,
Storm drains.
Totally different than the sewer line. Yeah,
they're storm sewer.
storm sewer lines. Well, they call them technically they're called storm sewers, but they're the storm water lines,
For
storm
draining
drains.
storm water.
Right. Sewer lines are,
And we put these off until they've just disintegrated, I
well,
guess.
you have to remember, most of these were put in the 70s, and their lifespan was 30 years, and we're a little bit past that now. So we're gonna have to start spending some money on replacing some of these lines. The bad thing is they're going through people's yards, between their yards and their backyards, and getting equipment back in there is not fun.
So when are we supposed to start those projects of fixing those storm
Stormwater,
drains?
Are we doing them as
As holes
as they
pop up?
fail?
or-
Or?
right now, I'm looking at them as they're popping up, trying to fix them. This year, hopefully by the mid or end of this year, I'm gonna have them all lined out, taking measurements, sizes, maps and everything, so I can hand them to the engineer, because we don't want him doing all that.
Okay.
And then he'll put together a proposal for what it's gonna cost, and the following year, we're gonna have to budget for that.
So we have to wait 2 years
No, we
to
don't
get
have
these
to wait,
fixed?
no, we don't have to wait that long. I mean, some of them I'm not gonna be able to wait that long, But the priority lines to me are gonna be the ones that are in people's
That are
backyards,
collapsing.
that are collapsing and causing hazards, I mean, to fix the overall system,
So you're talking about doing all of them
yes.
2 years from now?
They're all gonna have to be done. My estimated cost is gonna be about 2 million. So that's why I'm putting it up, as you can see.
We're replacing them all, or we're lining them, or what's?
You're having to line them, in some cases that are between the yards and stuff, you can't go tearing up people's backyards.
Yeah, I know.
So we have to line them. Now, the bigger ones that are out in the open, if they're not that deep, hey, I don't care, tear them out. You know, but the ones we can't get to where people have, you know, grown into them already, you don't have a choice but to line them.
If they're collapsed, how do you line them?
You have to do what's called a point repair. They'll go in, just where the section's collapsed, cut the section out, put in a temporary piece, and then line the whole thing.
So that would mean going into somebody's yard if
If
necessary.
I have to go, I don't have a choice, yes.
Well,
And-
there's already, their yard is
It's already
collapsed,
full.
right?
Yeah. If
There's a hole there.
Right, if there's a hole there, and the sidewalls or the tops are rusted out, but I can still push a liner through it, I'm not worried about that one. It's the ones that have totally collapsed that I have to, so.
Okay.
Anybody have any more questions on the financials?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
Let's proceed on then to the next item. Which is the administrative reports.
Administrative reports are pretty well normal for this time of year, everything's running fine. On the administration report, we did shut down plant number 2, water plant number 2, but you have the literature there that was handed out because I got a last minute report. 2 was shut down because we've talked about it in the past when we were starting to pump sand. So the alternative was let's look at the pump and let's see what the condition of the well is before we really have to fork out a lot of money. And this report that came back is showing the current condition of it. Some of the things I suspected already are put in writing now, so. We did have the pump was failing, and it's gonna have to be replaced. The column pipe's rusting, the lining's rusting, and the one thing that I was hoping wouldn't happen, the camera survey is showing us that now the casing is starting to rust through. So it's gonna be a major issue, and these are some of the recommendations that Weisinger's giving us as to what's gonna fix the plant.
What did we budget for this?
That would come out of capital expenditures.
Right, didn't we budget for well number 2 repairs?
1.6 million.
Okay.
Now, as part of this expense that's listed on this letter, or in this bid, is part of this expense is gonna go to EPUD, right?
No. Well number 2 is totally ours, not a joint plant whatsoever. We'll absorb 100% of this cost.
So how did we go from budgeting 1.2 to,
1.2 replaces it.
Replace
okay,
it,
so we're
correct.
just gonna repair it?
What the recommendation is that we repair it at this time.
Right,
Okay.
But we don't know what we're repairing yet.
right.
And that's the reason why it's open-ended. Weisinger gave us a bid of roughly $250,000. And it's still open-ended from that because they don't know what else they're gonna
What they're
run
gonna get
into
into.
Right.
until they get the pipe clean and all. It's gonna be my recommendation that we dispense with the camera runs and run a electromagnetic casing inspection tool, which would give us, it took them, how many hours did they say to find the one hole?
6 hours.
6 hours to find one hole in 700 or 800 feet. And there may be others, they're unsure. And a casing log and casing inspection log is an electromagnetic casing log will give us the thickness of the pipe all around rather than just looking for a hole. And
So
will
who
tell us
does
the
that?
overall condition of the 16-inch pipe that we have to deal with. Now,
Who do we contract with that, for that?
there are a number of people that
That's what I'm looking
have
at.
And what's
now.
it run?
the Schlumberger, a Halliburton, a BJ, there's a jillion of them. I'd ask
Right.
Richard to call one of them and get a number, and did you?
They don't allow calls. I had to fill out a form online and
Oh,
make an appointment and
I'll
just.
call somebody.
I was gonna say, I've got a
I
contact
deal
at
with 'em.
Schlumberger.
I'll
If
call
you
them.
get somebody to call me back, I detailed it, but you have to submit it in a contact us format and they get back to you.
I'll call somebody at Schlumberger tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they're treating it like it's a cost estimate.
Exactly.
Anyway, right now, the pump is torn apart and all the bits and pieces are sitting in Weisinger's yard up near Willis. And if anybody wants to go look at it, it's there.
You know, the column pipe's showing its age, the shafts are showing their wearing, you know, I mean, it's just, have to remember that well was drilled in '70, so.
Well, that's
When?
what I'm wondering.
70.
So are we
1970.
gonna repair it, or are we gonna replace it? I mean, are
No,
we
we're
just
gonna
kicking it
replace
down
it.
the hole, down the
Well,
road?
the pump we're gonna replace,
The pump we have to replace.
but we're looking at the pipe now.
All the column pipe, all the drive shafts, all the bearings, all that's gonna have to be replaced.
Yeah, all the internal
Right,
will have to be replaced irregardless of what we do about the casing.
right.
What about the casing?
Don't know yet.
Yeah,
That's what you
We
gotta run
haven't,
the log
we
on.
haven't got that.
We haven't got a definitive answer on the shape that the casing's in.
Okay, well,
And
then we
until
can't
we
do it.
get that,
right.
or as definitive as we can get, there's no way we could give you an estimate as to what it's gonna take from that point on.
Right.
It may be that we can repair it by squeezing cement. There's a jillion different ways to go about it. We can put patches, if it's minor deals, we can put a patch in there. If it was very minor, we wouldn't even have to run a liner.
Right.
And we could put a patch. And so we wouldn't have to buy the 12-inch pipe as a liner. So until we know the condition of what we're dealing with,
We don't know whether.
we don't know a precise number. Now, I can tell you without qualm that the internals will have to be replaced. The pump, the shaft, etc.
Roughly how much?
That's roughly $100 and something thousand, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
I forget, there's a break, the total was $250 and I think it was about half of it.
Oh, that's all in the,
Yeah.
That's in the,
That's the
okay.
The turnkey number.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are certain things you have to do to prepare to run this inspection log, and that's in here. They're gonna have to run some casing scrapers, or what they call a wire brush.
The good news is that after surveying, televising, I should say, the bottom screens that we were concerned about, screens are actually still in pretty good shape. So if we can get the casing and everything else, the 700 feet between that and the surface taken care of, we could probably run it another 10 to 20 years. So that's a
It
good
just
thing.
depends on how much metal loss
It
we've
just
seen
depends,
in
right.
50 years,
Right.
60 years. Almost 60 years, 50 years.
It's almost longer than-
Anyway, that's where that stands, and it's gonna be my recommendation that we proceed to the point to where we do the casing inspection by whatever means we decide. And then make a decision at that point as to how to proceed.
Right.
Okay.
It'd be better to have a lump sum,
Make that in form of a
wouldn't it?
motion, since it's on the agenda. I will
Why?
make such a motion that we take this in 2 steps. One is that we perform the necessary steps to inspect the casing and rebuild the internals, the pump, shaft, etc. And then we take the second step after evaluation of what we do about the outer casing. I submit that in the form of
Sounds
a
like a
motion.
plan.
I hear a
I
second.
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 Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's that part. What's the next item? I've lost my place.
Casting votes for candidates.
Oh, Montgomery County Appraisal District. Your ballot must be returned before the 16th. Now, we had a ballot, as I
I
recall.
thought we did that last month.
I thought we did too. No, or was that something else?
If it's all part of the same thing, that's when you decided that, yeah, why participate in it? We only get 2 votes.
Well, anyway, we're entitled to 2 votes.
Yep.
Does anybody have a druther?
No.
No.
What's the choice?
Pardon?
What's the choice?
Barry Blanton, Guy Hancock, Petty Houseman, Bonar Luce, Ron Raymaker, Andy Adam Simmons, Bruce Tuff, and Carl White.
So we
And
get to
only
pick
2 of
out
those
those
can be
eight.
picked?
Yeah.
Only
I've
2.
seen one guy's name on a sign.
Yeah, Bruce
Really?
Tuff you see everywhere.
If he's got money to post a sign, I don't want him. I don't want
Yeah,
him.
ever who's
I
got the
was gonna say
sign.
Carl White, I've seen his name, and he's running for everything in the city, so.
So does Peggy Houseman. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, that's right,
Peggy?
yeah.
I think I know Peggy. Somewhere way down.
Anyway, I want to pass this on
I don't care.
I don't
to,
either.
Anybody out there?
Have a
have any-
recommendation?
Anybody want to recommend somebody, or
Okay.
First
We're in
two.
agreement.
we're in agreement?
Agreement.
Yep,
We
just
don't care.
let it
Say,
go.
don't even turn in a ballot.
You're not required to.
we're a minuscule, we have minuscule votes
We
in the
have 2
whole thing
votes,
anyway.
yeah.
2 out of 1,000 or 1,200 or something like that.
Yeah, 2 out of about 1,500, 2,000, something like that.
But I think every mud's gonna be the same way, it's like,
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
well be.
So there's only,
there's gonna be,
So somebody's gonna
there's
win with
people that are
one
gonna
vote.
make a
We'd have to
decision.
have a bunch of collusion to
there's
make
gonna
an
be
impact.
24 votes cast.
Is there anyone you don't want? That's the way I go into things. It may not be someone you want, but if there's someone you don't want, then that's,
Okay, any more administrative problems?
No, sir. 1 and 3 is online right now. They're carrying the load of the district, plants 1 and 3. This time of the year, we're in good shape.
Yeah, you only got 7 million
Production's
gallons
down.
last month.
That's right. So we're okay with that, those 2 plants being online.
Probably go down for the next couple of months, I hope.
That's my hope.
So, can I ask, where does this report of taxes collected, where does that fit in here? Administrative or bookkeeping?
That's a bookkeeper's
Financial.
report.
Okay, can I go back and ask a question then about the taxes collected? I just wasn't sure where it fit on the agenda. So are we saying there's $30,000 worth of back taxes owed to us?
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
What do we do about that?
that's pretty good.
We don't do
Well, I mean,
anything.
that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
The
appraisal
It's usually higher
The
than that.
appraisal
It's
district
an
hires
attorney.
lawyers to
Yeah.
play.
Oh.
That's their-
Yeah.
they
So do we have to,
No,
And then they.
how do we get it?
Yeah, we have to pay a fee.
Percentage?
Yeah.
Did,
Sell their house or sell their property or?
Whenever the property sells, the taxes will be taken care of.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's a bankruptcy and still it's supposed to be taken care of.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, discuss and approve quotations for cameras at water and wastewater plants. I've gotten that out of order here. I missed one.
isn't that what we discussed?
We discussed it, but we didn't decide, we made no decision. As I
We didn't
recall.
vote, I guess, on
Do
a
you-
decision.
do
I
you
thought we
want-
decided,
Do you
Did we?
want to pursue? Do you want to purchase? What's the
For the
general manager's
wastewater?
recommendation?
are we back on the wastewater? What
Wastewater was one and water well number 2
Two.
was something different.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got out of order.
You
Okay.
did, you
I
did
was
the water
wondering which
well.
one. What we're talking
I
about.
jumped 5, I didn't
yeah.
okay.
pay any attention to it.
So, Richard, I know that we touched on
Are we
this
talking
last
about
month.
Mhm.
It says, quote for cameras, water plant. And then the next one says, quote 3, alarm water plant. And then there's quote 2, alarm office and shop.
Right,
And then quote 1, cameras.
yes.
So, how does this break down? Quote 4, what water plant is that?
One of them is water plant number 2, and the other one was water plant number 3. And the one that just says the cameras, that's the wastewater treatment plant. And then the office, understandably, just says alarm in the office and the shops. That's this building here.
All right, so the one that just says cameras is
Yes.
wastewater.
I think that's the wastewater one, yes.
Oh, you haven't answered it.
So was this the best
it takes
bid,
all
or is
four
this
of them,
the only
right?
one we got?
This was the only one that I got because I looked at these bids and going, man, we're gonna spend $2,000-3,000 on cameras, that's ridiculous. You know, that's a lot of money, and then you gotta pay the monthly fee to keep them up and running. And they're all based on if I was to take the one with the shop, because they're transmitting back to the shop.
So are we,
So do we really
well,
wanna
no, they're
spend that
not
money?
transmitted, they're monitored.
They're monitored, correct. But since we don't have Wi-Fi at those locations, they're having to beam it back to this spot.
Right.
See?
So,
What does East Plantation have? They have a system, don't they?
They do not have any
they
system.
have,
Nothing.
they have a constable security they hired. So, my question is,
Is that cheaper?
do we need, no, do we need to, you're saying TECQ is required, TCEQ is requiring us,
No.
To
no,
up our game?
no. What I said was that TCEQ, Homeland Security, request rather than require, there is no requirement for anything more than what we have right now,
okay,
okay? There is no requirement,
okay,
but they do suggest that additional methods be used to survey them, which we have somebody here, let's say we have them 8 hours a day, but they're not in, there's somebody should be at the sewer plant 8 hours a day. There's somebody who's around here 8 hours a day, but there's nobody at the water wells 8 hours a day. They come in and go, they pass. The cameras, as I understand this bill, is all they do is monitor, and you don't have a history. Is that correct?
You could pay the extra money